It's cold outside, but warm here in the shop as we continue work on our large rocking horse. Stick around. Welcome back to the shop. In our previous episode, we not only got our large horse roughed in, we started sanding on it. This week, we've got a lot more sanding to do. We also want to add some muscle definition to our front and back legs. We're going to set the glass size, and we're also going to cut in our saddle block. But again, like I said, we've got a lot of sanding ahead of us, so let's get going. So I spent about another 3-4 hours sanding on this horse. I worked out a little bit more detail on the head and around the eye area and up underneath this jawline. I'll move the camera here so you can see, bear with me here, that on the legs we added a little bit of detail here on the top and up underneath here, like a tenon. And again, these are little details that once it's painted and the light hits it, it's going to give you really interesting shadow lines. I did that on the front, and again on the back, added these little details back here. Again, it's going to look great once it's all painted and you see this in the light. So I've got probably another couple more hours. I've got to cut in the slot for the mane yet, cut the hole for the tail, and also cut in for the saddle block yet. So I'll do that yet today and get that done. And then tomorrow, when I get in here to the shop, again, a little bit more sanding on it, and it'll be pretty much ready for the paint booth at that point. We'll start primering. So yeah, this has come a long way in a short time. Cutting in this saddle block, again, is pretty straightforward. I use a handsaw when I cut this in, and then I'll chisel out the inside of that until I get it to the point where that block fits down in there really nice. Just a little side note on this saw. This was my grandfather's saw. I didn't know my grandfather. He was my grandfather on my father's side. He passed away when I was just an infant, but I always love using this saw. I take really good care of it. And every time I pick it up, I think of him. And I like old tools in general. I heard a phrase years ago. It was, old tools are like shaking hands with the past. And I've always liked that saying. And that's true. I just love having old tools and using them. And there's just a special feel to them. Anyways, I'll go ahead, get back to chiseling this out, and we'll get our saddle block cut in. Still moving along with the sanding process on our horse. I've got the saddle block cut in, and I got it filled around the seams, so that's all dried. It usually takes about 24 hours to dry really well. So we can go ahead, get this all sanded smooth. This is again our saddle block, so when we go to attach our leather saddle, this gives us a place to nail the back down to. The other thing I want to work on is cutting in these two slots right here, and this is where the stirrup staples will go. You'll see that process when I get to that point and we start adding the saddle and the hair and everything. We'll tack it all up. You'll see what those stirrups are for, but we have to put an indent on either side of this horse to accept those stirrups. We'll go ahead and cut in our slot for the mane, and we'll cut the hole for the tail. But that's about it right now. Another few hours of sanding and we've got it. Now that our horse has finally made it into the paint booth, I think that's where we're going to leave things for this week. Next week, when we get in here to the shop, we're going to go ahead, we'll get the eyes set, and I'll show you how I even sculpt the eyelids, and then we'll go ahead, give it a final sand, and then we'll start primering this horse. So you're not going to want to miss that. If you're enjoying this series so far, thanks again for watching. Think about subscribing and also hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. We'll see you here at the shop again next week.